Hello everybody and welcome back. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the fastest and most effective way to learn a new programming language. Now the reason I'm making this video is because so often people jump into these huge courses online, right? Maybe they're buying some course, maybe they're looking at, like a 10-hour long YouTube video, maybe they're going and reading all the documentation or buying textbooks just to learn a new programming language. Now I'm here to tell you that is completely unnecessary, and although there is some value in doing that, and of course you're going to learn more than maybe from spending an hour trying to practice the programming language, if you're just looking to get up and running as fast as possible, you want to understand the main concepts and kind of learn as you go, then following the technique that I'm going to share with you in this video is a much better use of your time and is definitely going to lead to you having a better understanding of the language that you're using. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started, and I'll talk to you about the fastest and most effective way to learn a new programming language. Now, as we all know, being a developer involves constantly learning and developing new skills. Personally though, this is one of my favorite parts of this field because learning something new is always energizing and it leads to personal growth. Now the sponsor of this video, which is X-Team, takes this learning and growing very seriously and is committed to helping its employees do so. X-Team is an 100% remote company that supplies brands and businesses with access to extraordinary development teams. Developers at X-Team work with big brands like Riot Games, Fox, Coinbase, and many others. The X-Team culture revolves around freedom and letting their developers live energized. X-Team empowers their developers by funding their learning and growth and providing opportunities for you to pursue your passions. The developers that work for X-Team get to roam all over the world while staying at their hacker houses that are located in some of the most beautiful locations. X-Team also hosts 3-month-long seasons that are filled with challenges, rewards, and games to inspire and energize you. Finally, X-Team provides all its developers with $2,500 a year to spend on doing whatever you love and keeping you energized. Start working as a remote developer today by hitting the link in the description. So I'm about to share with you some concrete steps and kind of a procedure or process that you can follow to learn a new programming language quickly. Now, the goal of this process or procedure is going to be to make this as time efficient as possible and to focus on your understanding and not your memorization of specific concepts or syntax. So that leads me right into the first point, the first thing that I always do whenever I'm learning a new programming language. And this may seem strange, but what I do is learn about why this programming language is unique or different from ones that I already know. Now, of course, this means you already have to know a programming language. You can still apply the formula that I'm about to tell you if you don't, but of course, this video really is geared towards people that already have, programming fundamentals and know at least one programming language. But the reason I do this is because I want to very clearly, at the beginning of this kind of learning process, understand what I actually need to learn. I want to know what the core differences are. I want to understand why I would use JavaScript and not Python. I want to understand why this language is maybe superior in some ways, is not superior. And of course, I want to know some basic features of it, like is this a typed language? Is it dynamic? Do I have to compile this? Is it an interpreter? All of these basic things are what I want to start off with, so I have an idea of what I'm getting myself into and what I'm about to have to learn. The next thing I do after I kind of get a general sense of what this language is, I understand the uses and the main differences between the one that I know, is I go to some official documentation or I go to some really extensive tutorial or guide, something that has a table of contents for this language. I look for something that's like as big as I can find, and then I quickly skim through the table of contents. The reason I do this is because I want to see immediately if there's anything in this language, any keywords, any features, maybe something that I haven't seen in a programming language I already know. That's the first thing that I do. For example, if I'm learning Python and I come from a different programming language, well, something that might stand out to me is, say, like list comprehensions, or the fact that I can define a function inside of another function. Just a bunch of things that say you can't do in another programming language, but that you can do in this one. So I'll go through the table of contents, I'll figure out all this stuff that I don't yet know or that I've never seen before, and I'll write it down. And that is not going to be where I start, but those are going to be the things that I need to focus on and that I'm going to spend more time learning because I don't already know them from the previous language. The next thing that I'll do, so we're moving on to step 3 here. We had step 1 and step 2 already, is I will go and I will find some course, some tutorial, something that can give me a general overview, something that's fast, say like under an hour of the programming language. Now I might watch a YouTube video, I might go find like a nice article or maybe a like interactive tutorial or something, and I'll spend about an hour, usually not more than that, just going through, following along, and trying to get a sense of what this language is like, and just kind of a general introduction. So that is my step 3, is go find some resource that's about an hour long, maybe an hour and a half, and just kind of follow along with it and just get a sense of what this language is. Now, as soon as I've done that, so I figured out the main differences, I know kind of the main uses of this language, and then I have a general sense of it from some tutorial or video, I'll immediately open up a website, say like LeetCode or AlgoExpert, or some place that I can practice really easy programming problems. The reason for this is I want to immediately take anything I know about this language and just start trying it, just start practicing and just start seeing, how I can actually use these language features. And usually what that does is it immediately points out to me what I don't yet understand about this language and what makes a lot of sense. Maybe I have my programming fundamentals down, so I know how to do the for loops, I know how to do the if statements. I have to cross-check with some syntax on a website or with a quick Google search, but this is going to expose to me immediately the stuff that I need to focus on and then what I should learn next. So I'll spend maybe about an hour doing that, or however long I feel is reasonable and I've got some good practice in, and then I'll say, okay, so when I was doing this, I noticed that I really didn't understand this concept. This one was a bit confusing. I had a lot of trouble with this syntax. Let me go look that up now and figure out what those things are. So now I'll have a list, maybe of like 10 things that I don't really understand and that I want to look up. So I'll look up those specific things, figure them out, and then again, go back to the programming problems and practice them. And this is the loop that I will continue to do until I get somewhat comfortable with the language. Once I'm comfortable with this language and I'm like, okay, I have a grasp of it, I understand the basic syntax, I feel like I could write a program in this, maybe I need a bit of help, but generally it makes sense. Immediately, I pick some kind of project, something small, maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours, and just dive in and I just try to make that project. Now, I know this seems overwhelming and people are going to be like, oh, I don't have a project idea. You can make whatever excuse you want, but just go look up some template project ideas, whatever you want, and just start trying to make something. This is great because you're going to learn an enormous amount when you're in this project. And if you already have a basic understanding, you should be able to get enough done if you pick a simple enough project that you can just kind of look things up on the side and just find the information that you need. And honestly, you can do all of this in one day. I know that sounds like a lot, but let's say you said today, I'm learning Python or I'm learning Go, I'm learning JavaScript. All the stuff that I just said, realistically, you should be able to do in a day's work, so say 8 hours, and then you can come back tomorrow after a good night's sleep, continue to work on the project and look things up, and that should give you a really good fundamental understanding of the language, and you should be ready to pick up some more advanced concepts. You should have a decent understanding, and you will have actually practiced a lot of this stuff and not just heard about it from someone else. So really, that is the procedure. I'm going to summarize it here one more time. So the first step is to understand the fundamental differences between this language that you're learning and some language that you already know. Figure out the basic features of this language. Is it typed? Is it dynamic? Do I need to compile this? What does my dev environment need to look like? What is this used for? What is this not used for? Understand all of those things. And then you move on to step 2, which is finding some resource, some official documentation, or some large guide that can give you a kind of summary or table of contents of all of the different main language features. Again, the point of this is to go through that table of contents and find all of the things that you've never seen before or that don't make any sense and that you're definitely going to need to learn, and kind of keep track of those, make a list, and have them ready so that when you move further in the language, you know that that's what I need to move on to next, and that's what I should learn. Next, after you've done that, you have an idea of all of the main things that you kind of don't already know or that you think are going to be challenging. Find some resource that can give you a really quick and good overview of the language. So go on YouTube, find some hour-long course, find a crash course, a speed course, go find some, article or something quick on the internet that you can read through in about an hour, and just get a good understanding and kind of grasp of what this language looks like, some of, the styles of writing it, and all of those different things. After you do that, immediately hop onto LeetCode, hop onto Algo Expert, some website that you can practice programming problems on, and just start doing easy or medium programming problems. Whatever your current skill level is on those websites or whatever you think you can do, just go ahead and start practicing those, and this will immediately expose to you the gaps in your knowledge and the things that you really understand and that you really don't understand. You can keep track of these things, but you'll probably just remember them anyways. And then after you've done a good amount of practice, go through your list of things you don't know yet and just start learning those specific things. This should be easy because these should be small, different things, right? And they should just take you a few minutes, a quick Google search, maybe, a 10, 15-minute video, and you can kind of go through these things. And after you learn one, you can go back to that cycle where you practice it and then you figure out, okay, did I get that or not? Learn it again and back and forth. So you're cycling through practicing, learning a concept, practicing, learning a concept, so on, so forth. Finally, once you feel somewhat comfortable with the language, you've got some practice in, and you feel like you could maybe write a program, then you go ahead and you actually jump into making your first programming project in this language. Now, hopefully you've learned enough at this point where you can just pick something simple and you can kind of have a high degree of confidence that you'll at least be able to finish it, right? And of course, when you're going through, you're probably going to forget a lot of stuff. There's going to be stuff you need to look up and things you don't need to do. But this will be great because you're actually going to be applying everything you've learned into a project, and you're going to be learning stuff as you go and kind of cross-referencing, say, some of the resources you looked at and the code that you're currently writing. After that, you should have a really good grasp of this language, and now it's just time to learn about all those things that maybe you've never seen before, are more complex, and then after that, you really should pretty much be done. Now, of course, this is the basics, this is the fundamentals, this get you up and running nice and quick. This is not going to teach you every single advanced feature in the language, but this is what I'll do, especially if I want to learn a programming language fast and fairly effectively. So that has been my guide and kind of my tips for picking up a programming language quickly and effectively. I would love to hear what you guys think about this in the comments down below. Is there any tips that you agree with, disagree with? Is there any advice you would give people? Please do let me know. And with that being said, if you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, I will see you again in another YouTube video.